We're teachers, so we talk all the time.
We'll take our first question from Nathan King. Nathan King's from Auburn Undercover. Nathan, you can go ahead when you're ready.
Hey, Kevin. I was just wondering what the timeline is for y'all heading to Orlando, if you guys haven't left already, and whether you guys are going to do any sort of stadium walkthrough before the game tomorrow.
Yes, Nathan. By the way, that's a nice picture you got up there. But congratulations. And we'll do we're still at Auburn. We'll do our walkthrough and meetings this morning, normal day before game stuff here at Auburn. We will do our walkthrough in the indoor this morning, and then I think we depart 10:45. We depart for the airport. Get down a little bit early because there are some things the bowl wants us to do before we start our normal night before itinerary.
Coach, we'll take another question. This one will be from Paul Kennedy, who you know. Paul, go ahead. Paul, you can unmute. Go ahead when you're ready.
I'm still coming up the technological curve on this, Coach, so I apologize.
You're good, Paul. You're good.
I remember, and this will be an atypical question. I remember your years at Florida State. You never know how you're going to influence somebody. I walk into your office, and on your desk, when you were coaching those great linebackers for Coach Bowden, the only thing on your desk was a Bible. And that had a profound effect on me. It told me a lot about you and what your priorities were and how you treated these young men. So my question here, in trying to keep the players first, I understand that, but for you and all the universities and teams that you've been with and all the players you've coached, where would this be on your Mount Rushmore today, if you could pull all this together with these young men and show them how to win, and you could win this game?
Well, it's a good question. I think this, coaching, it's been productive for me, and I learned this from some very, very Hall of Fame type coaches, that in coaching you've got to win the day. It's live in the moment. The past is full of lessons. The future is unknown, but the today is the moment, and you try to win the day. And so I don't really get into comparing, 6 years ago from what will happen tomorrow. I do know this, based on all the things that these players have been through across the country, not just our players. And we've got an added deal in that we had a coaching change. So there's been a lot of change and uncertainty that no one in college football that I know of has ever had to go through in terms of across the country with what's taken place. And of course, our players have been the same, and they've been remarkable in the way they've adapted, the resiliency in which they've had. And so to be able to have a life experience to where you fight through something to the end and you're successful with a lot of adversity that you had to overcome, that's a life lesson that will serve them well for years to come. So in that regard, it will be very important. But in terms of just trying to place it in my career, hadn't done that.
Thank you, Kevin.
If you have any questions for Coach Steele, you can raise your hand using the raise hand function. We'll call on you. Coach, I'm running out of questions for you myself. I know we've had you a lot this week. We've got a couple hands up now. I guess that was the push people needed. We'll take one from John Denton of the Associated Press. John, go ahead when you're ready.
Kevin, the SEC's had a lot of success against the Big Ten in the past. Those past matchups where there's the physicality against a team that's maybe more athletic. How do you how do you think you guys stack up athletically against a team like Northwestern?
Well, obviously, when you watch the video, we're built a little bit different than they are. It's just the way that we chose to recruit, and they do the same thing for the setting they're in, the conference they're in. But this still will be a battle. They are the West champions for the Big Ten, and that's hard to accomplish. They're well coached. I said earlier in the press conference, I think that their coach is a future Hall of Famer. He's done remarkable things at Northwestern, so they will certainly be up to the task, and it will be a handful. I don't think anything that's happened with SEC Big Ten in the past is relevant to tomorrow for a lot of reasons. But it's about lining up and playing the play and winning the down, and then that play is gone. It's over. It has a life of its own. Play the next play, and it'll come down to execution. And so that will be the focus of the game, not what's happened conference-wise, matchup-wise in the past.
Coach, we'll take our next one from Josh Vitale, the Montgomery Advertiser. Josh, you can go ahead.
Hey, Kevin, I know you said the focus is on the players and on this bowl game, but there was a coaching search at Auburn, like you mentioned. It sounded like early on you may have been a candidate for it. I mean, can you give us any insight into what the last few weeks were like for you personally?
Well, Josh, it really wasn't what you might think it would be in terms of I had a job to do in terms of filling in for Coach. Which was not, I mean, we've got good staff members here that are very capable coaches. Chad on the offense, Larry Porter, special teams coordinator. So putting all that together and the things that was not difficult, but the main focus, we just stayed focused on our players. That was the thing that we did. Now, obviously there were other things going on. But that was not in my control. That was in somebody else's control. And so when somebody else is controlling things, you just put your head down, do your job, what you're paid to do, and let things unfold as they may, because you can't control things that are uncontrollable.
Coach, our next question will come from Phillip Marshall. Phillip, you can go ahead whenever you're ready. He's from Auburn 24/7.
Kevin, unless I'm wrong, y'all haven't really ever been at a tipping point where you might not have been able to play a game because of COVID. I mean, I know you've had some issues, but how valuable has the process and Doc Goodlet and all those things been to getting y'all through this season?
Well, as far as we're concerned as a staff and a team, I think every man on this team, player and coach, would tell you that the captain of the ship through COVID, Dr. Goodlet, is number one, he loves and cares about us and takes care of us like we're family. And then on top of that, he's an unbelievable doctor, very, very intelligent. And he navigated this and took all the pressure off of us in terms of getting us through it. It was very successful. In fact, Phillip, he seems like he works 18 hours, 20 hours a day. I don't know when the man sleeps. He's been invaluable in terms of getting us through this. Now I will add this. I mean, I'm gonna keep close to the vest, but I mean, we got a call this morning. We're still testing, and we had a positive this morning. So it changes. That's how quick it changes. So
right.
We practiced all week. We're ready to get on the plane. We got a positive. So now we got to adjust. And he's been great in helping us do that.
Thanks.
Coach, our next question will come from Mark Murphy, followed by Tom Green. Mark, you can go ahead.
Yeah, Kevin, can you talk about the week of practice, how it's different than a normal, maybe bowl lead-in practice, and what you guys got accomplished?
Right. Well, we had to take it a little bit more like a game week, Mark, because we were off those 2 weeks because of the way the calendar felt and the COVID testing and returning to campus. So we were very limited in our practice. Normally in bowl week practices, you got extended number of practices. So you have shorter practices, and then you work the young guys a lot more. We didn't have that opportunity. We did as much good on good as we could do early in the week to try to catch up some things so that we had some game speed, being 2 weeks off. It was more like a game week with an extra Tuesday than it was a bowl practice.
Thanks.
Coach, we've got Tom Green, AL.com up next. Time, you can go ahead.
Hey, Kevin. Chad yesterday mentioned that with Schwartz out, that Eli Stove would probably have a bigger role. Just what have you seen from your perspective of him as, from the defensive side this year?
Well, you certainly know when you're calling, like in scrimmages and practice, if you're not scripted, you certainly know where Eli is on the field. I mean, there's certain guys when you call games that when you go against the offense, okay, let me know when this guy's in. Then when he's in, where is he? Because when you can run as fast as he can, you can affect the game, and so your matchups are real key. But the biggest thing about him, he's such a great young man. He's been resilient, been a great leader, the consummate pro. Just like this week, you would think he was a freshman trying to earn a starting position, not someone who's playing his last game.
We'll take one last call for questions for Coach Steele. If you have a question, you can raise your hand. Go ahead and ask. We will bring up Bryan Matthews next. Bryan, you can go ahead and unmute when you're ready.
Hi, Coach Steele. Thank you for speaking to us. I wanted to ask you about Northwestern's running game. How effective is it, and how good are they at sort of controlling the clock? And what do you feel like you guys need to do to slow them down?
Well, they're traditional offense in a lot of ways. Now, schematically, a lot of formations, but they are built on a power run game, drive the football offense more than a big play offense. And they're a little bit more traditional, but in terms of the way they manage the game offensively, in terms of the formations and motions and shifts and those things, they're not. So that's all designed, I think, to get you gapped out and get guys' eyes discombobulated and looking at the wrong things, and then create seam runs. So we're going to have to be really good with our eyes, and we're going to have to own our gaps. You can't wipe out of your gap too early. You got to hold your gap, because there's a lot of eye candy.
Coach, we'll take another one from Mark Murphy. Mark, you can go ahead and unmute when you're ready.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, are you guys going to work out at the stadium before the game, or have you got anything else as far as practice goes before the game?
No, we'll just have walkthroughs today. We'll have walkthroughs here. We'll have walkthroughs at the hotel. Mark, I mean, with the COVID issues and transporting and moving people, Doc just feels like is where we can stay more in the bubble, the better off we are, and that's okay. The size of the football field is exactly the same as the football here at Jordan-Hare, so they've been on a football field. They'll be okay.
Are you taking like the regular bowl trip, normal crew, everybody, or is it just more like a road game in the SEC?
It's more like a SEC road game.
Gotcha.
All right, Coach, we don't have any more questions for you, so I think we'll let you go. We appreciate your time again this morning. You've been very generous this week. So good luck tomorrow, and thank you again for your time.
Thank you. We're excited about being at the VRBO Citrus Bowl, and we can't wait to get the game started, and looking forward to enjoying our time in Orlando. And we thank you guys.
Thanks, Coach. Looking forward to kickoff.